Yes, we are live. Live. It's good to be here again. This is our third try. We were having technical difficulties, but we have figured them out, and we're here to read our 10-minute book reading for today. So this is going to be exciting. We are still reading from Bruce D. Schneider's Energy Leadership. And just to let you know, if you didn't watch yesterday's live, we were reading from the introduction section, and we spoke a little about, well, we read a little about the what's wrong attitude, which is a negative stream of consciousness that is not only found in businesses, but it is found in schools, families, nonprofit organizations, in our relationships, and in our perspective of ourselves. Right, so it affects how we do things and our energy, and for businesses, profits and staff relationships, and all of those things. So to get a little bit more information about what we read about yesterday, you can watch yesterday's live. But if you love to be on YouTube, then you can go onto our YouTube page, the Mufasa Coaching Practice, PTY Ltd, and you'll be able to find yesterday's live reading. I will also leave it in today's reading. Leave the link of our YouTube channel, our awesome YouTube channel, which has really amazing content as well, in today's video description. Okay, so let's go into the first chapter of the book, which is titled Thank God It's Monday. You know, I know there's a lot of people who who feel like this. I feel like this about Mondays. Like, thank God it's Monday. I can go to work. I actually love coming to work. But I know a lot of people don't really necessarily like um, that. They say thank God it's Friday. I appreciate Fridays as well. So I'm gonna start my timer, and I'm gonna read. Okay. Thank God it's Monday. A leader doesn't just get the message across, a leader is the message. Warren Bennis, Authority on Organizational Development, Leadership, and Change. That's the quote. That's at the beginning of the chapter. Things just felt different. When I walked through the doors of O'Connell Consulting, a familiar face caught my eye. I appreciated her desk and noticed how the mahogany gleamed. The crisp sign on it read Christina Suarez, admin assistant. Christina welcomed me. Good morning, Bruce. She looked bright, relaxed. You're here early. Can I get you anything? Of all the changes I had seen in this company, none could match the transformation Christina had made. Her hand dog expression I had encountered on my first visit had vanished. The boxes of unfiltered folders clattering the entryway were gone. She replaced the obstruction they considered a reception desk with one much more aesthetically pleasing and inviting, and the air of resignation and why bother was history. Christina spoke animatedly, without a trace of the mumbling I experienced when I first met her. She made me feel welcome the way someone would greet you at a casual party. It was delightful to see her new and improved demeanor, a powerful indicator of the revitalization that had taken place here. I don't need a thing, Christina. It's great to see you, though, I remarked, returning her warmth with my own. You make it such a pleasure to be here. I said and meant it from the bottom of my heart. There was that smile again as she picked up the phone to tell Richard O'Connell, the company's chief executive officer, that I had arrived. When Richard and I began our work together 6 months earlier, the company he had created, nurtured, and loved for 15 years was uncomfortably close to bankruptcy. The nerves of the staff were frayed. The management team was at each other's throats. The support staff whispered their contempt for the whole organization, and almost everything seemed lost. Today, a mere 6 months later, everything was different. Richard was waiting for me. Christina reported, so I made my way toward his office. In the hallway, a confident, upbeat, impeccably dressed woman strode in my direction. Well, good morning, Bruce. You're looking dapper, Tanya Swanson said and extended her hand. She complimented me on the look of my suit and patted me on the shoulder as she shook my hands. Another remarkable change. When I first met her, Tonya had been the most negative member of Richard's inner circle. Despite being a highly talented vice president, now she exuded creativity and positive energy in whatever she did. Instead of avoiding Tonya, people now flocked to her. Certainly, Christina had made the most dramatic leap, which was vital to the company's success, since Christina was the first voice and face anyone encountered. But Tanya's transformation from drain to gain was one of the most important reasons that O'Connell Consulting recorded its highest revenue ever the quarter following my work there. I said goodbye to Tanya and continued down the corridor. Soon I passed Don Taylor's office, and there he was, delightfully tapping on his keyboard. His expression was so different from the old Don. He looked positively absorbed. When he glanced and caught me staring at him, he winked and got back to what he was doing. I interpreted that to mean he was indeed fully engaged. As I stood there a few seconds longer, I remembered all too well having seen him working too hard and constantly frustrated with nearly everyone he was managing. Now he was more efficient, effective, and finally enjoying his job, as if it was no longer drudgery. He also enjoyed leading the staff members who reported to him, whom he now referred to as his partners. Only 6 months earlier, when Don's energy reminded me of a cannibal on steroids, no one would have believed that he would become the company's most inspirational figure and a driving force behind the company's success. Almost at Richard's door, I was nearly trampled by Kyle Pennington, who was about to fling open the door to his boss's office. Papers in hand, and newly appointed director of sales still had his headset on, cord dangling, recently detached from the phone, no doubt. Sorry, Bruce, didn't mean to cut in front of you, he said, and he applied a firm handshake and continued to dash ahead of me. But I've got some good news for Richard. Won't be a minute. While I waited outside the office, through all the commotion and positive energy welcoming me, I noticed Kyle's predecessor was nowhere to be seen. His wasn't among the many smiling faces greeting me today. That's about right, I thought. In my time there, I didn't recall ever seeing that man smile or get excited about anything. Kyle zipped out Richard's office almost as quickly as he entered, which meant it was my turn to see the boss. My client sat at his desk, reading the first quarter report that Kyle had just handed to him. Richard already knew the results, so the enthusiastic perusal I witnessed was an acknowledgement of the dramatic success his company had achieved. Grab your chair, my friend, he said. For a moment, both of us remained quiet, each unwilling to interpret with words what we both were now experiencing. An easy yet electrified silence, filled with anticipation and no small amount of wonder. How does it look? I finally asked Richard as I sat down, nodding at the report and grinning at him. But we both knew I meant much more than that. Richard seemed half ready to jump out of his chair and perform the end zone dance of a lifetime. But his response was understated. It looks really good, Bruce. In fact, I'm tempted to say it's almost perfect. Today was the date we decided on at our first meeting to review our process and celebrate the company's dramatic turnaround. A day we long hoped would come. It served as a testament to a few simple and important facts. Richard's company still existed, was still viable, and prospering. From here on out, a whole new world of possibilities opened for him, as well as for every one of his employees. And employees like Christina, Tonya, Dom, and Kyle were clearly aware of it. Now it was my turn to play. So what else is new in so what else is new? I'd ask rather casually. Very funny, Richard replied. He looked out his window, which opened on a lush green hilltop, but his gaze seemed to stretch much far, rather, much farther. Where should I start? He asked, as much to himself as to me. Richard began by telling me that the past 6 months had been the most challenging, revealing, and intriguing of his career. O'Connell Consulting had gone from nearly having to close up shop to now making record profits. He reminded me that 6 months ago he thought he'd have to replace his management team or go under and lose the company and dreamed he had worked so hard to create. Instead, the management team had become a powerful force of guiding people and change. The fear of closing shop was not even an option. His team was fully invested and engaged in helping him grow the business and constantly creating a work environment that was highly positive. And that's 10 minutes! But I love the fact that we got to that. That was really good. It seems to me like working on our core energy and how we lead ourselves. I will link a video from our director from our YouTube channel, and he talks about leadership success, and he says that this is, it's either you are a lead, everyone's a leader. So it's either you lead by default or you choose your consciously lead. And because Richard decided to, lead consciously, himself and then those around him, his company turned around, and the positivity, radiates in the passage that we just read for the past 10 minutes. So thank you so much for watching this. Let's have a discussion about why we think a positive mindset, a positive perspective can turn around not only our business, but organizations, families, relationships, and just the perspective of ourselves. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Remember to like this video and do see the description for our YouTube channel and the video that I was just talking about. Bye.